Okay, so here we go. Good morning, namaste, adab, and sat shri akar. On behalf of India Cellular and Electronics Association, ICEA, my name is Rishabh, and I welcome you all to this very special occasion. If you remember, actually just over a year ago, the Electronics Components Manufacturing Scheme, ECMS, was introduced, and it has quickly become the prominent example of a successful industrial policy in India. The speed and the tenacity with which both the government as well as the industry have worked together towards the common goal of establishing a robust and globally competitive components ecosystem in India is incredible. You know, even Sherlock Holmes said that the little things are infinitely the most important. And with the things that make up devices like your mobile phones, but they seem to be the key here. Over the last 6 months, we have had 3 of these events in which the government has approved 46 applications across product categories and across India. And today, we are in store to add some more names to this list. And now, with no further ado, it is my distinct honor to introduce our esteemed guests. First, we have amongst ourselves our chief guest, Shri Ashwini Vaishnaw ji, Honorable Union Minister for Electronics and IT, Railways, and Information and Broadcasting. We are pleased to have Shri S. Krishnan ji, Secretary in the Ministry of Electronics and IT, and Shri Sushil Parji, Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Electronics and IT. We also have Shri Pankaj Mohindru, Chairman of ICEA. Thank you all for being here. I would now like to request Shri Pankaj Mohindru ji to deliver the welcome address to this gathering.
Honorable Minister and the leader of our industry, Secretary Krishnan, Joint Secretary Sushil ji, and all the lovely, wonderful guests, especially the entrepreneurs who have put their foot forward and are who have applied. I think hats off to you guys. Sir, the very critical thing is that the first most important thing is we must thank you for increasing the outlay, because we had reached the peak 23,000 crores. And I think this is historic that a scheme has crossed its outlay right in the beginning. So the 40,000 crore announcement came, and that's a very wonderful thing. We were all elated by it, and our request continues that I think if we have a calibrated opening of the scheme in certain sectors as we go by, that will be wonderful. The PLI for the mobile phones has delivered 24 lakh crore of manufacturing in this period, with a very marginal outlay of just about 1% cost, about 25,000 crores. That has built up a massive scale, and I think that has given the confidence that ECMS has taken off. Sir, we are working very strenuously on your guidance which you gave last time to work on quality and design. We are putting something together, and we'll come back to you with a very, very solid plan. Very, very solid plan. It should be in the next 1 to 2 months, we'll have this plan ready. We are completely focused on the whole industry. Everybody is completely focused on the 500 billion number. I think we 24/7 we live and breathe it, and I have absolutely no doubt that under your tremendous leadership, we will be able to achieve that by 2031. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pankaj sir, for setting the tone for today's event. Next, I kindly request Shri S. Krishnan ji to share his thoughts and ideas with us.
Honorable Minister for Electronics and Information Technology and Railways and Information and Broadcasting, my colleagues in the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Shri Pankaj Mohindru, the chairperson of ICEA, and industry leaders, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the fourth round of electronic component manufacturing scheme. As you're well aware, one of the most successful launches of schemes that we've had, and a scheme where we've had great amount of interest from the industry side, and we are matching that with our own effort to provide these approvals as quickly as possible, and in turn we expect that industry matches us with speed of implementation, because as we already pointed out, although the risk of somebody missing out is sort of gone a little bit with the increased allocation, but it is still a real risk, and there are still opportunities open for making more applications under the scheme, particularly insofar as they relate to making the capital equipment needed for electronics manufacture and for upstream supply chain. Both of those windows, as you're all well aware, is still open. There's almost a year and a half for which that would remain open, and I would encourage many of you to use that opportunity. And I think today is a good occasion to remind ourselves that that is clearly the space, given the present geopolitical situation, given where we stand globally, that is what will truly build our supply chain capability and supply chain strength, which is one reason why I think industry should now use this opportunity to come forward. The global scenario is changing. We need diversification. We need, and that is the only way that resilience will be built, and we need to have our own supply chain. It's something which is in the interest of India as a country, but more importantly, I think is in the interest of the whole world. So I think that is something that everybody needs, and that is the direction in which we need to go. In today's approvals, we basically have one application intended for antennas, one for capacitors, 6 for capital goods. And as you can see, that is one of the largest chunks of investment. And as I told you, that is a space which is still open, and we would encourage many more applications to come in there. 4 applications for connectors, and display module sub-assembly, 2 applications. Again, an area where many more can come. Heat sinks, again, 1 application. Laminates, copper-clad laminates, we had cleared a few applications last time. We are very happy to see that more of them have come up this time, and we are clearing them. Likewise, in flexible PCB, a space where India's capacity was hitherto limited. It is good to see that expand as well. Lithium-ion cells for digital application, again an important application, and we would love to see more of those come in as we go along. The metallized films for capacitors, which is again an upstream investment. It's a small but very significant investment. And for the first time, an investment for rare earth permanent magnets. Again, an extremely critical area which is required in this country, and we are very happy to welcome and announce an investment in that space. 4 investments in relays, 1 in resistors, SMD passives, 200. Transducers and inductors. As you can see, now we are seeing a diversification in the kinds of components which are increasingly getting made in India, and that is a significant way forward. Likewise, we see the geographic spread also becoming much wider. In the north, UP and Haryana, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala. In all of these states, there are applications getting approved. The key highlights, the overall investment this time around is 7,104 crore worth of these 29 applications, and that would result in employment of 14,246 persons. As I already told you, first ever SMD passives, the high precision capital equipment, very significant investments, and the first ever rare earth magnet manufacturing. I think all of these are extremely significant investments, and the total production which we anticipate from this would be valued at 84,515 crore. which would be a very significant addition eventually to India's GDP as well, in addition to the resilience and strength of the economy. Already, against the investment of 59,350 crore, we've up to, till date, 61,671 crores. So we've exceeded the initial investment target. For production also, we are nearing the target against 4,56,500 crore. We are already at 4,51,858 crore. And in terms of employment, we are more than a third of the way there, 2/3 of the way there. Against 91,600 persons, we have got to 65,040. So we basically cleared thus far 75 applications. You would recall 263 applications had been received originally, and more are in the process of being received. Therefore, we have some way to go, and the remaining targets would also get achieved. So that is a quick overview of where we stand, and I would once again reiterate the request that as a country we need to get together to make sure that this is a space where more investments are considered, particularly the upstream investments for which the window is still open, and we would use this opportunity to actually request all of you to make an outreach in this space. This is, if at all, geopolitically and otherwise, one of the most significant moments where these investments can be considered in India, and it would contribute, as I already said, to the global strength of the supply chain in this particular area. Thank you very much once again to all the applicants who have been part of this process, and we would encourage you to implement your projects quickly, and any troubleshooting, any assistance, any other kind of help which is needed, MeitY stands ready to render that. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishnan sir, for your very valuable inputs. I would like to now ask Sri Sushil Paji to kindly take over the proceedings for the announcements.
Thank you, Honorable Minister sir. I think with your permission, we'll start the process for handing over the approvals. I shall be announcing the name of the company, I think, whose project have been approved, and will request the CEO and or the senior leadership who is representing that company to come forward to receive the approval from the Honorable Minister. The first one is Munhot Lithium Battery Private Limited. This one is a first Indian company which is investing in manufacturing of a lithium-ion cell for digital applications. They already manufacture lithium-ion cell for power banks, but they'll be expanding the capacity significantly to from the 10 million cells per annum to 40 million cells per annum for all digital applications. The next, Vishay Components Private Limited, Mr. Abhijit Pimple, Managing Director. So they have two applications, one for the capacitor, the other is for the SMD passives. So this is the subsidiary of Vishay Technology US and a premium global manufacturing for discrete semiconductor. And they actually call it, whatever they manufacture, so they call it as the DNA of all technology which goes into consumer and auto. So the third is TDK India Private Limited. I'll be inviting Mr. Gagan Bansal, the President of Sales and Marketing for manufacturing of the inductor. TDK is a global electronic company known for passive components for sensors and energy solutions. And they plan to manufacture the inductors for automotive, industrial, consumer electronics, EVs, renewables, and the 5G. The next is a Vishay Precision Transducers, India Private Limited. They have two applications, one for the resistor and other is for the transducers. Vishay Precision is again a subsidiary of Vishay Precision US, and they have a expertise in the high precision sensors, weighing solutions. They'll be actually manufacturing the force sensors for the load cells and largely for the export purposes. Next is the Dixon Display Technologies. I'll be inviting Mr. Sunil Vachhani for the display module sub-assembly for investment of 1100 crore for display module assembly in Noida. They'll be doing it in technology partnership with the HKC, for which the approvals have been received. And so this will significantly improve the domestic value addition, because display almost constitutes 12%, 10 to 12% of the BOM of most of the IT equipments. The next is the Wangda Technologies India Private Limited, which is again for a display module sub-assembly. It is a subsidiary of a 100% subsidiary of a Wangda US, an integrated EMS provider, and they are already a EMS player and into SMT and FATP space. They'll be diversifying in the display manufacturing area. The next is DVDN. They have two applications, one for the antenna and other for the heat sink, each constituting investment of 50 crore. And they have they'll be manufacturing the antennas for telecom, Wi-Fi and IoT, and the heat sinks for the, which are the critical components for the safety of electronic devices. The next one is the OEN India Technology Limited. I'll be inviting Ms. Pamela Matthew, the Chairman and Managing Director. So they'll be manufacturing relays with an investment of 216 crore in Cochin. They originated from the US-based entity Oak Electronics, now completely Indian-owned. And the end use of these relays will be the smart meters, EV in the automotive sector. The next one is the Molex India Private Limited. I'll be inviting Mr. Subramaniam Ramanathan, the director who heads this operations here. So they aim to develop India their global capability center, and a subsidiary of a Koch Group, which is a global leader in the electronics and the fiber optics connectivity systems. And they'll be manufacturing the connectors for a very high power applications, more than 50 ampere. The next one is Permanent Magnets Limited. Mr. Sharat Taparia, Managing Director for manufacturing of the relays. They'll be setting up a plant in Maharashtra, which is a brownfield expansion. They plan to manufacture 10 million relays per year for energy meters with in-house capabilities and a painted. The BG Electricals and Electronics India Private Limited, which is a subsidiary of a Bagla Group. They already make relays for an electromechanical for automotive sector, railways and home appliances. They'll be investing 195 crore in Aurangabad for manufacturing of the relay. The next one is Terminal Technology India Private Limited. They'll be investing in manufacturing of connectors for almost 175 crore in Pune for industrial automation, control systems and industrial electronics and EVs. The next one is SFO Technologies. The next one is SFO Technologies Private Limited. They have two applications for connectors and relays. I shall be inviting the executive from the SFO Technologies to come and receive the approvals. So it's a part of the NEST group, which is a highly diversified presence across the aerospace, defense, industrial, energy and transportation. And currently they are contract manufacturers for a global connector leader, but they plan to launch the connectors in their own brand as well. Next one is Amphenol FCI India Private Limited. Would invite Mr. Gopu Ponaswamy, Managing Director for manufacturing of connector. Again, the global leader in the interconnect solutions. They shall be carrying out the brownfield expansion for connectors for telecom, data centers, medical and the defense sectors. The next one is Sirma Strategic Electronics Private Limited. So they have two applications, one for the Sirma Strategic and other for Sirma Components. They'll be actually manufacturing flexible PCB, the country's first flexible PCB plant, as well as the laminate. In the Nairobi-Pettu, Andhra Pradesh, both the plants will be in Nairobi-Pettu, Andhra Pradesh. They plan to establish a fully integrated PCB manufacturing, starting from the laminate to the multi-layer PCB, HDI, and the flexible PCB as well. Next one is the Ratnavir Precision Engineering Limited. I would invite Mr. Vijay Sanghvi, the Managing Director. So they'll be manufacturing the laminate with a technology partnership from the pilot lines to the commercial production. And they aim to manufacture CCL as thin as 0.2 millimeter. These CCL will be completely fire retardant and with a capacity of 1.6 million sheets per year. The next one is the Loham Cleantech India Private Limited. Would invite Mr. Vijay Verma, the CEO and the founder for India's first rare earth magnet plant, completely from their own in-house technology. And they'll be actually tying up with the GMDC, Gujarat Mineral Development Corporation, for technology partnership for extraction of the rare earth oxides. So this is planned to set up the pilot line in this year itself. Loham actually is working on its own technology for extraction of the rare earth from the rare earth oxides, and actually then going on to manufacture the permanent magnets. So with your permission, sir, maybe I shall will get them opportunity also to speak to a few after we announce the approvals. So we'll carrying forward, sir. We have more, couple of more, sir. Dhruv Industries, which will be actually making the metallized film for capacitor, Mr. Tanuj Kathuria. They have a 25-year experience. They are actually purely operating in this very niche area of metallization of the capacitor films. The next one is the TEAL, Tata Engineering and Automation Limited. Would invite Mr. N. Sridhar, Managing Director of TEAL. So they will be establishing the capital equipment manufacturing center in Kanchipuram, a subsidiary of Titan Company India Limited. And the DVA in this capital equipment will be, sir, almost 75% and more. The next one is the Nest Advanced Technology Development Private Limited. I'll be inviting Mr. Nagur Jahangir. Okay, please. So they'll be again a part of the Nest group. They'll be investing in the manufacturing of the automated test equipment as well as the advanced automation systems for the robotics and electromechanical stations. The next one is the ASM Technology. I would be inviting Mr. Rabindra Srikanthan, the Managing Director of ASM Technology. So they'll be investing almost 565 crore for the manufacturing of capital goods. So they have a very strong design talent team. They employ almost 2,000 people, and half of them are actually design and R&D team, and the other 1,000 people are actually in the manufacturing of the capital goods. So the next one is Indo MIM Limited. Would invite Mr. Shiv Shankar to receive the approval. They'll be manufacturing again capital good with a investment of almost 600 crore in Bangalore and Kanchipuram. So their tooling capabilities are actually supported by a highly trained design and engineering team. The next one is Bharat FIH Limited. Would invite Mr. Pradeep Kumar to receive the approval. Again, they'll be manufacturing the capital goods. And last in the list is the IFB Industries. Would invite Mr. K.R.K. Prasad, the CEO, IFB Engineering Division, to receive the approval. So they'll be actually manufacturing very precision component for special purpose machines. And they'll be doing this using the 4-axis and the 5-axis vertical milling centers for the manufacturing of these precision components. So with that, sir, I would request you to take seat because we have come to the end of announcing the approval, sir. With your permission, if you permit, sir, maybe we can ask a few industry leaders to share their thoughts. Maybe we can begin with Mr. Jaswant Manhot, Lithium and Cell. I would request all the speakers or industry leaders to keep their comment very crisp and short, preferably about a minute or so. Thank you.
Good afternoon to everyone. We are very delighted to have received this approval today for the lithium cell. And just to update, we have been manufacturing lithium cells from 2022 itself. We had no scheme, but we still went ahead and did it. It is our passion to do that. Only request from our side would be probably that lithium cell आप recently ले रहे हैं, अगर हम lithium battery बनाते हैं उसको आगे जाके, तो वो consider करना चाहिए because we will only be generating more employment opportunity for people and it can be restricted to the 10,000 units. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one is Mr. Avijit Pimple, Managing Director of Vishay Components. Maybe you can share a perspective about.
Hello. So, Honorable Minister and colleagues from the ministry. So, first of all, I would like to thank all of you on behalf of Vishay family because we have been associated now with my team for last 6 years. We were also part of the first PLI and now this ECMS scheme, where the way things are going and the way progress we are seeing is absolutely incredible. I was speaking plan is now for next year, second half of the production to go in place. And as it goes, we'll see how the market is progressing. So we hope to engage much more with my team and more products to come in as the things go by. So thank you so much.
So we have been able to give them after a lot of follow-up on the virtual VC meetings with the Vishay, but we aim for more investment from the Vishay given their group size. The next one is Mr. Ashwini Vaishnaw from Dixon Display. Maybe you can share about as to how the value addition will increase.
Thank you, sir. Sir, as JS sir was making the announcements of the applications, I'm sure a lot of people, their mind would have gone to the fact that, as my mind did, that how far we've come as a country, how far we've come as an industry. Looking at the time where we were importing almost every finished product to a time today where electronic exports is the third largest category and mobile is the single largest category of exports. And I want to thank you, sir, for the very proactive policies and the entire ministry and for listening to the voice of the industry. Sir, we realize that what got us here will not get us to where we want to. Under your guidance, we want many of our companies to be in the top 5 companies globally in the EMS space. And under your guidance, we assure you that going forward, we will focus on creating very large scale, building mega factories, building a very robust supply chain under the ECMS scheme. Just to tell you, sir, on behalf of Dixon, we have already started manufacturing camera modules, almost 8 million camera modules a month. The display factory will be coming up in June. We'll be producing almost 60 million displays for mobile as well as automotive and IT. And I can assure you, sir, that we'll be focusing on 4S going forward: the scale, supply chain, skilling, and finally, sir, the Six Sigma quality, which we talked about in the last meeting. So once again, sir, thank you on behalf of the industry, and we once again would like to assure you that we will not rest until India becomes the next hub for manufacturing for the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next one is Mr. Nini Chiang from the Wangda, again another display manufacturer, assembly manufacturer.
Honorable Mr. Sir and all the officials from the Ministry and ICEA. So Wangda is not a very well-known company in the whole organization industry, I think, compared to all the big shots here. But we've been in India for the last 10 years, and we've been very, very focused and dedicated on our manufacturing and bringing our own technologies. So this is very, very great appreciate for the approval, which encourages us to go further. And from the PLI to this ECMS, it also gives us more knowledge and more more thought to see how to bring the supply chain from all over the world to India. So we will still be here and we will still be very dedicated. We are not sure whether we'll be very famous or not, but we will continue with what we are already doing, and we will be standing as one of the strongest supply chain in India. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nini. Then I would request Mr. Puneet Agarwal from the VVDN to share his perspective.
First of all, thank you to Indian Minister and all dignitaries of IT to give us this award. VVDN was started in 2007, and at that time, most of the products, as my colleague Sunil said, that was coming from outside India. And I think we took a dream that we will manufacture and design in India both. And it was struggling. It was a path of struggle. It was a path of a lot of complexities because ecosystem was not in India. But I think honestly, this government came in and they saw our dreams and participated in that. And this is the best testimonial what we can get after 11 years of hard work together. And I think we achieved a lot, but not enough as we have to do much more. And the recent disruption in supply chain because of dependency outside is really hurting us. So we have much more to achieve in the next few years, and we promise you, sir, that we'll continue our hard work in this journey, and we continue dreaming that VVDN and the entire country will be full of companies with design and manufacturing both. Thank you.
Thank you, Puneet. Next, we would request Mr. Pamela and Matthew, the Chairman and Managing Director of OEM.
OEM, the company which I represent, has been in the electronic component manufacturing since last 58 years. We are based in Cochin. Our plant is very well integrated
Thank you, Ms. Pamela. The next, I would be requesting Mr. Subramaniam Ramanathan from the Molex as to how they view India to make India the global capability center.
Minister, I'm from Molex, a part of Coke Industries, and we make connectors. We have been in connector industries business for 8 years, and presence in India is for last 30 years. And as a tagline of our company, we make connections for life. So that's the tagline of our company. So we do things that take data to decisions, and again, this connection between ministry and the industry is also drives our connection. So that connection really helps us get into the ecosystem that helps. We are poised to grow in India, and we are committed to grow. And the ecosystem will surely develop and get a strong electronic industry base.
Thank you, Mr. Ravindra. I hope this connection between government and the industry remains a high power connector which you're trying to build out here. The next one, Mr. G.S. Gujral from CERMA, as to how they plan to kind of establish the fully integrated PCB manufacturing here.
At the outset, our sincere thanks to the Honorable Minister and Ms. Beti for granting us a sanction. The approvals under ECMS have come at the proverbial speed of sound, and I think we have set the benchmark for the industry to follow, and it's a very tough benchmark which we have set. Thank you very much. Now, with this approval of HDI and laminates, we are present in the entire value chain of the PCB industry, from laminates to the multi-layer board to the HDI to flex. And PCBs account for about 6% of the value of our electronic sub-assembly. So that's the direct import substitution. We, on behalf of CERMA SGS, are committed to deliver what we have promised within the time frame. And I'm happy to share with you that the plant of PCB which is coming up would be one of the most green plants in the country, comparable to the world, where we will be recycling 80% of the water discharge. And we're spending a huge amount on the EPP, but we're committed to the environment and the production and putting up world-class capacities with the latest technologies. Thank you very much once again.
So they are doing it with the Korean technology partners, sir. The next one is Mr. Vijay Sanghi, Managing Director. They're getting first time into electronic manufacturing, but they, from the interaction, we saw that they have a very deep knowledge about the laminate process. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir. Honorable Minister, sir. We are into the CCL copper-plated laminates. It could be for the automated, fully automated line with the collaborations with the high technology firm, and we have been planned to committed to commence the production started by November 26, and we could be into the laminates for the electronics could be the new, but yes, we are into the sheet business last 25 years. It could be a listed company. And on behalf of the Republic, I can commit you that we can be delivered the copper-plate laminates, best quality, and the high precision products over there. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Vijayji. The next, I would request Rajat Verma from Loham. Maybe you can share about the indigenous technology which you're building.
Honorable Minister and distinguished guests, thank you very much for supporting us here. Magnet, as we know, is foundational to electronics, robotics, and even the future of semiconductors. Most of us don't realize, but every mobile phone today has at least 4 sintered rare earth magnet inside for various different applications within a mobile phone. And the entire value chain of magnets is heavily concentrated. Again, that's not a surprise. Almost everyone is aware of that. We at Loham are setting up a fully integrated rare earth oxide magnet plant, all the way from rare earth oxides, rare earth ores, including as well as secondary scrap material, to turn them into metals, to turn them into alloys, and ultimately to turn them into finished magnets. We thank the government. I believe the scheme is extremely strategic and timely for us to build resilience and leadership in the country. We as a company genuinely believe that the future of nations will be shaped by countries which can bring materials and intelligence together. We at Loham are certainly going to do our part to that. We hope
Thank you, Rajesh. Sir, we have just two more speakers, sir. With the permission, I'll request Mr. N.P. Sridhar from the team.
Thank you very much. Firstly, to consider capital goods in this scheme. We will be making smart, sorry, yes, it is absolute priority for all the industries that we are getting into, and we have a comprehensive capability that we have built within team for intelligent equipment. In the electronics segment, we build comprehensive equipment now. It's not that we have already started building equipment in this scheme, so we've already invested in the last 1 year. We've been making equipment for the electronics equipment. In electronics itself, not only about even the large components that go in, bill of material, now we are sourcing in India, software done by us, with lots of technology that goes into making smart equipment. And we want to extend, so what we want to do is to make a lot of equipment in India to enable the industries that are coming in. There is semiconductor, a lot of equipment is going to be imported. We would like to see that it is being made here in India. New energy, battery, for solar, all the equipment comes from which country, so we would like to see build that capability in building equipment here. And my request to the audience over here is a lot of you are going to be building a lot of equipment that would be needed to make components. Please consider team. We are homegrown, we have very good capability, challenges. Please buy equipment from us.
Thank you. The last one is Mr. Rabindra Srikantan, Managing Director from ASM. Maybe you can share something about your design-led R&D for the capital goods.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister and all the dignitaries. I think Sridhar told most of us it was like self-buy from him. So first of all, thank you very much for this program. We are a very nascent industry when it comes to capital equipment. This is highly engineering-led, IP-led, and design-led. And this is the first of its kind. There are a handful of people doing this in India now for the past few years. Our whole interaction with MeitY and with ICA has been very seamless, very proactive. It was a very easy process, and we look forward to some more applications coming through for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravindraji. With that, we come to the end of this process. But that now I would request our Chief Guest, Honorable Minister for Electronics and IT, who has been guiding us and also having a very close monitoring on the complete approval and the implementation process of the scheme as such. I would request Honorable Minister for his keynote address, please.
Let me first ask the industry what you have done on the 4 asks that I had requested. कौन बताएगा? Let me first ask the industry. We had decided that we will build in-house design capability. We'll have the Swadeshi supply chain, and we'll achieve 6 Sigma quality standards, and we'll build a structured workforce training skilling program. Please, from the industry, would you tell us what steps have been taken? Anybody can, whomsoever represents.
As Molex, we have the Global Design Center in India. The Global Design Center in India does not only support manufacturers that are made here, it supports what is made globally. So that answers the first question of whether you are doing design here, right? And Six Sigma is something that has been what Molex has been preaching and trying to practice from 2004 to 6. I'm a Six Sigma black belt myself. So we have been Six Sigma black belt practicing from 2008. And there has been batches of Six Sigma training going on continuously. Not only people from India, we collect people across the globe to have so that there's a lot of transaction and interaction of knowledge. And when it comes to people training, so that becomes the biggest challenge for us, because one is training and retaining people become a challenge. We are working how do we get across that so that we can have people retain for a longer time. That's the one challenge that we have in India as of now.
That's great about one company, but the entire industry has to do it in a structured manner. Please have a seat. Please. My request has been that the entire industry should come up with a very structured program on these 4 points. Can the industry association speak a little bit more about it? Yeah, you wanted to say something? working. It's working.
So this is Dr. Ashwini. I am the chair of the Semiconductor Skill Committee at Electronic Sector Skill Council. I'm happy to say that we are looking at building up and scaling the skilling capabilities in the country. There are a lot of skill standards that have been cleared by the MSDE. MIT is aware of them. These qualification packs are meeting and beating the international standards the way. And right now the challenge that we see is rolling it out into the academia. AICT has endorsed these curriculums, MSD has approved it. The change in the academia is taking place. We trained about 1,500 faculty in the last 1 year, but change is a very gradual process to human nature, and being policy and the work that we are doing will make all the difference for the next workforce. Yes, coincidentally, I just delivered one at my institute about a fortnight back. It is something which is a pretty standard program, and definitely it's a culture change which is important more than the training to ensure that culturally that difference comes. It's not mechanics, it's not anything else, it's the discipline which actually shapes it.
Any other feedback or any other experiences that you would like to share? Puneet?
Hello. So, sir, I think one of the major challenge the manufacturing industry is facing is that the program for upliftment of all the manufacturing operators is not there. It is very different from the engineering mindset, the software engineering mindset. Because in software engineering mindset, you have different level of...
वही तो आपको करने के लिए बोला था ना,
we did that. So we did that. So what we did is that within VVDN, we have launched the V Academy, right, which is dedicated to manufacturing. It's a public portal. It will give all the manufacturing of 8,000 people of VVDN to go and upgrade their skill set. So there are different skill set we have made for quality leadership, quality team lead, for SMT team lead, for tooling team lead. So everybody can go through courses, upgrade themselves, pass the test, and in their next promotion cycle, the people who have passed the test, they'll be uplifted there. They'll be, we can promote them. So now that has become a visionary thought process for them that they can, within a single company, they can upgrade themselves. That is one, sir. On Six Sigma leadership, the quality leadership, we have engaged with some third-party companies from Japan and Germany. We have brought them to VVDN, and they're helping us doing our audit and giving us all the suggestions how the other manufacturing companies in these countries have achieved Six Sigma. So we are trying to implement all these suggestions from them. This is a paid partnership we have given to them, and we have got the feedback from them. These are 2 action items we took after the last meeting.
So I'm glad that some work is happening. Now I'll request the entire industry, whichever way you are kind of organized, whether it is part of ICA, whether it is part of MAIT, whether it is part of any other association, to come out with a proper structured program, because we had, in the last meeting, we had, the industry, all of you had committed that by end of March, we will have a proper structured program on all the 4 items. But I don't see that structured program so far. So while we from the government are trying our best, it is now, the ball is in your court, ball is in the industry's court, to come up with equal efforts, the efforts that we are making from the government. You have to be in tango, and you have to really scale up your efforts and scale up your ambitions on these 4 items. And I'm repeating the 4 items so that we don't forget them. First is that we will have to build in-house design capability. Whether it is 1 designer, 2 designers, whether it is in collaboration with any other company, or in collaboration with any university or collaboration with any other structure, but we have to have significantly deep design capabilities, and there is no way out of that. That is the learning curve we must climb. Then only our country will become really the hub or the focal point of entire electronics manufacturing. Without that, we will just be kind of also ran. We have to get into electronics design, component design, machine design. Design has to be one of the primary focus. इसमें अगर किसी को भी कोई डाउट है तो इस प्रोग्राम से भी बाहर निकल सकते हैं. हमें कोई आई एम वेरी ब्लंट अबाउट इट, लेकिन अगर डिज़ाइन के बिना अगर कोई आगे बढ़ना चाहता है तो इस प्रोग्राम से बाहर भी निकल सकते हैं. हमें कोई हिचक नहीं है उसमें. पर डिज़ाइन में इंक्लूड डिज़ाइन आपको इसमें लगानी ही पड़ेगी, डिज़ाइन की कैपेबिलिटी बढ़ानी ही पड़ेगी. एंड ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम दोज हु डू नॉट इन्वेस्ट इन डिज़ाइन will be weeded out. We'll make sure that they are weeded out. I'm saying that very blunt and very open because that's very, very important for our nation. And we in our party, we always believe nation first, always first. We will not look at individuals, we will not look at companies. For us, nation always comes first, and for the nation, design capabilities are very, very important. So those who do not invest in design will be weeded out. Second, we will have to develop our Swadeshi supply chain. We'll have to have very coordinated buyer-seller agreements. And I'll request the industry associations to organize this at least once a month. अभी तक मैं आपको बोल रहा था कि आप लोग आइडिया लेके आए हैं, लेकिन आप लोग लेके नहीं आए. So now we will prescribe. अब आपको जो हम बोलेंगे वो करना पड़ेगा, मैंडेटरी करना पड़ेगा. अब आपको एक स्ट्रक्चर्ड वे में बायर सेलर मीट्स करनी पड़ेगी, जिससे कि हमारे देश के मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को और ज़्यादा अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ मिले. जैसे भी टाइटन के एमडी साहब ने बोला कि they are manufacturing, they are designing the machines and manufacturing them, then we should give the preference to our own homegrown capital equipment manufacturers. इसके लिए हमें we will have to come up with a monthly program, पंकज जी. and आप हमेशा कंप्लेंट करते थे, अब मेरी कंप्लेंट आपके ऊपर है. टाइम हैज़ कम दैट यू स्टार्ट, यू रियली रैम्प अप योर एफर्ट्स. और ऐसे काम नहीं चलेगा. ये एक्सेप्टेड नहीं है कि आपने मार्च के एंड तक प्रॉमिस किया था कि इन चारों आइटम्स पे एक स्ट्रक्चर्ड प्रोग्राम बनेगा, लेकिन वो स्ट्रक्चर्ड प्रोग्राम मुझे अभी तक कोई दिखाई दिया नहीं.
Really sorry, sir, we are lagging behind.
इसमें लैग बिहाइंड करने से होगा नहीं, और सॉरी कहने से भी नहीं चलेगा. काम करना पड़ेगा. अभी काम करके आगे आना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज देश की बात है ये, कोई किसी एक मिनिस्ट्री की बात नहीं है और किसी एक केवल सरकार की बात नहीं है. देश के लिए ज़रूरी है. सिक्स सिग्मा के लिए बहुत जल्दी आप लोग स्ट्रक्चर्ड प्रोग्राम बनाओ. और अगर इंडस्ट्री में कोई अच्छे प्रोग्राम, जैसा भी आपने बताया, दो लोगों ने बताया, 3 लोगों ने बताया, अगर आपका सिक्स सिग्मा का इफ़ यू हैव सम स्ट्रक्चर्ड प्रोग्राम्स ऑलरेडी, देन आई विल रिक्वेस्ट दोज प्रोग्राम्स टू बी स्केल्ड अप. And especially for MSMEs who cannot afford to take a very large investment in Six Sigma quality programs, उनके लिए जिन लोगों के पास already capability है, वो कैसे पार्टनर करेंगे, वो आपको मुझे अगले 15 दिन के अंदर you must tell us all the 75 applications we already have now. उन सब applications में each one of them, left hand column should be name of the company, right hand column should be Six Sigma में किसके साथ वो associate हुए. That thing I would like to have from you in the 15 days from now. Otherwise, we'll have to prescribe something else. And workforce training program के लिए, I'm glad that so many things you have shared today. Courses बन गए हैं, लेकिन फिर भी हमें 4 या 5 ऐसे focused centers बनाने पड़ेंगे which should be able to train, let's say 10,000 people each, या at least 5,000 people each. इस तरह की हमें 5 different centers minimum बनाने पड़ेंगे, तभी जाके होगा. वरना our quality of manpower will keep on kind of, जो हमेशा complaint आती है, जैसे आप लोग भी खुद महसूस कर ही रहे हो, तो इसमें हमें structured way में आगे जाना चाहिए. ये चारों मेरे core ask हैं और मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूँ बार बार, और मुझे इंडस्ट्री से उतना सपोर्ट नहीं मिल रहा है, इसलिए मैं अपनी नाराज़गी आपके सामने बहुत clearly व्यक्त कर रहा हूँ. I'm not very happy with the progress that the industry has made. You have to make more progress, you have to take more efforts, you have to take the, and these are things for you only. आप successful होंगे तो देश successful होगा. आप अगर अच्छा करेंगे तो देश आगे जाएगा और आपको खुद को भी benefit होगा. So इसमें आप लोग थोड़ा structured effort लगाइए. Otherwise we will stop the further approvals also. I am willing to take very harsh measures and I don't want to kind of mince any words here. I am willing to stop any further disbursements or approvals if the industry doesn't come up with the commensurate efforts. This is my single message today. I'm glad that we have now 75 factories approved where more than 65,000 employment will be created. This is great journey, but we should not be satisfied here. We should definitely not feel satisfied at this level. We have to really go deep in design, deep in quality, deep in talent, deep in supply chains. We have to go really, really deep in that. ये सब अच्छी बात है, होना चाहिए, लेकिन जो long term sustainability के लिए हमको करना है, that I hope we will be able to do it before the next meeting. Otherwise, I will not come for the next meeting. If you don't deliver the 4 asks, then I will not come for the next meeting and maybe we will stop approving any more applications. And in these applications which have been approved, we will probably not even disburse. So, मेरा इतना ही था आज कहना. I hope the industry will come up to the expectations that the country has from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Ashwini Vaishnaw ji, for your vision for the electronics industry in the years to come. As a final act to today's event, I would like to invite all the approved applicants to come forward towards the stage area for a group photograph. Monode lithium battery, Vishay components. Sir, I would request all of you to kindly come towards the stage area for a group photograph. And similarly, I would request our dignitaries to kindly come forward for a group photograph as well. Vishay, TDK, Dixon, Thank you all and a huge round of applause for the applications approved today. Express my deep gratitude to all our distinguished guests for taking the time out of their busy schedules and being here. The representatives from media, I now request you all to kindly proceed to the Emily, Eden and Hodges Hall on the 3rd floor for the media interaction. Similarly, I would kindly ask the Honorable Minister, Secretary and Joint Secretary to proceed to the 3rd floor for the media interaction. Thank you so much for being here. To conclude today's program, I would like to thank all of you in the audience for your presence today. I would also like to thank our sponsors for their support in organizing today's event. The lunch is now served in the balcony towards my left. Hope you all had a good time today. Until next time, enjoy. Thanks.
अभी मैं यही मेरे यही है ट्राइपॉड का
यही है सब कुछ अभी।
ट्राइपॉड नहीं पीसी कैसे करोगे?
पीसी अच्छा पीसी तो ऊपर
सब सामान
सारा ले चलना है ना।
हाँ बिल्कुल ट्राइपॉड ये है ना।
हाँ
मैं ले
अपने
लेता हूँ।
कैमरा मेरा सब ले लो, बैग लाइव भी ले लिया मैं ले जाऊंगा भाई, तेरा केवल टेंशन ना ले इतना।
भैया निखिल भाई
मैं लेके आया
लगा के आता ट्राइपॉड और क्या
मैं भी आ रहा हूँ, बस ये बैग ले रहा हूँ मैं। आजा जनेंद्र, केबल 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 मेरे पास है ना, एक चंद्र क्यों ले रहा तू भाई? ये वही बात,
वही वाली क्या बात है यार?
हाँ
नहीं तुम पीसी करो, पीसी ऊपर होगी ना सब मेंबर्स ने फीलिंग की ये पीसी करेंगे नहीं समझ रहे हो?
कौन से फ्लोर पे? थर्ड फ्लोर पे चल रहे, चलो 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 चलो। हाँ वीरेंद्र बोल दिया कि मिल जाएगी, फिर वही बात कर रहा था।
हाइट टूट जाएगा यार, उसको समझा तो अच्छे से बोल। बैठ चक्कर में जाओगे ना पीछे छूट जाएगी। ये जा रहा ना
ये तो फर्स्ट है।
थर्ड
थर्ड भी जाएगा तब गया।
थर्ड पे जाएगा
दब गया था।
आएंगे चलिए थर्ड दबाइए।
हाँ
दबाइए भाई नहीं तो भाई करिए नहीं जा रही सीढ़ी से आ जाओ जिसको कोई हाँ थर्ड
बड़ा तेज आदमी का। थोड़ा सा चेयर हटा दो, नहीं थोड़ा साइड भाई, एक बार पकड़ना, कैमरा पकड़ना। दे रहा हूँ। जनेंद्र ले लो भाई, हो जाएगा। इधर आना भाई, हरियाणा कैमरा जगह है।
एकदम नहीं ज़्यादा नहीं है लेकिन सस्ता जरूरी देखना।
थोड़ा सा उधर करो ना कैमरा।
सर्वर कौन सा है?
वही सेम ही है।
ऑडियो सप्लाई दे रखा है सर।
Friends, it is indeed a very important milestone in our electronics manufacturing journey. As you are all aware, we started with the manufacturing of finished products, and then we moved towards modules, and then we moved towards sub-modules, and then we started looking at the manufacturing of components. And in components, we have two categories, active components and passive components. Active components are the components which are coming under the semiconductor mission, and passive components are coming under the electronic component manufacturing scheme. So in this entire very comprehensive way of developing the electronics industry, we have today reached a level where we are able to manufacture finished products, modules, sub-modules, and now components, and in parallel semiconductor chips, which is the active part of the component ecosystem. Today, we approved the next tranche of applications for electronics component manufacturing scheme, and with this we now have total of 75 factories, 75 projects which are approved for the ECMS program. In 75 projects में total 61,000 crore rupees का investment आएगा, 61,671 crore rupees, and direct jobs which will be created as a part of these 75 projects is 65,000 direct jobs. High quality jobs हैं ये सब. Overall, this entire ecosystem now has deepened really well. आज जो अप्रूव हुए हैं उसमें फर्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट फॉर SMD पैसिव कैपेसिटर्स. These are SMD passive capacitors. A regular capacitor looks like this, which will have its own legs, I would say. But SMD capacitor would be basically, this can be automatically fitted on the SMT machine, and it gets populated on the PCB assembly. So getting this technology was the next step after getting the capacitor manufacturing capability. So it's a very heartening thing that our first project for SMD passive capacitors has been approved today. The second big thing is the flexible PCB. This is the flexible PCB. Flexible PCB is really high-end PCB. So far we have approved many PCB projects, and with this the flexible PCB will also be now manufactured in India. Very happy to share that the first rare earth permanent magnet unit is also approved today, and the best thing is the entire technology of this company is their own technology, their own IP, और भारत में उनका खुद का डिज़ाइन, भारत में ही उनका खुद का कंप्लीट रिसर्च करके अपनी खुद की टेक्नोलॉजी उन्होंने बनाई है. This is a group of IIT Kanpur pass outs, and they are very focused on material sciences. They are very focused on metallurgy and material sciences के confluence में ये लोग काम करते हैं. So very glad to have this project approved today. Another big milestone that we achieved today is 6 applications for capital equipment. जो मशीनें इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के लिए काम में आती है, उन मशीनों को भारत में डिज़ाइन करना, मैन्युफैक्चर करना, वो एक बड़ा ड्रीम है. वो ड्रीम का आज पहला स्टेप अचीव हुआ, और 6 प्रोजेक्ट्स जो कि कैपिटल इक्विपमेंट बनाएंगे और प्रिसीजन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड मशीनरी बनाएंगे, वो आज अप्रूव हुए. नेक्स्ट हमारा बड़ा अप्रूवल आज हुआ क्रिटिकल कंपोनेंट्स फॉर टेलीकॉम सेक्टर एंड इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल सेक्टर. इसके जो क्रिटिकल कंपोनेंट्स होते हैं, एंटीनास लाइक दिस, heat sink like this, then inductors, then transducers. All these were imported. Now they will all be manufactured in India. Or as all of you would have noticed by now, large number of these applications are MSME applications, which are able to contribute in a very nice way for the electronics manufacturing ecosystem. Another major landmark today is, out of the 75 project approvals, by now 28 projects have started construction already. 28 projects have started construction already. So that is a very major progress, because people are very keen on achieving scale in the electronics component, because the final finished product volume has come to India. So finished product अगर भारत में बनने लगता है तो automatically components के लिए design एक demand create होती है, and these are global products. So भारत की demand को meet करेंगे और global export चालू करेंगे. अगर component wise देखें तो I'll just share some of the component capacity that we are able to create. Capacitors में now we'll be able to meet 16% of our domestic demand. Connectors में we'll be able to meet 33% of our domestic demand. Laminates में we'll be able to meet 100% of our demand and will become global suppliers. Lithium ion cells for the digital segment, I'm not talking about the EV segment, only the electronics wala segment. There we'll be able to meet 61% of our domestic demand. As you might recall, last year when we inaugurated the factory in Haryana near Gurgaon, that time we were reaching about 35% of our demand. Now we'll be able to reach about 61% of our demand. Rare earth magnets in the electronics industry will be able to meet 25% of our demand. 25% of our demand. So this is a very big milestone for our country. Our dependence on imports will significantly reduce. In relay manufacturing, we'll be able to meet 100% of our demand, and we'll be able to become global exporter for relay components. For metallized films, this is a metallized film. This is a film on which metal layer is printed or impregnated, as they call it. Metallized film is 44% of our demand will be met in India now. PCBs, a huge market. We import about 40,000 crore worth PCBs. So this now we will be able to meet about 50% of our demand. About 50% of our demand we will be able to meet in our country. So that much import will reduce in a significant way. Inductors 5%, SMD passive, which is the first plant approved, will be able to meet 2% of our demand. So that way, a very methodical, step-by-step progress is happening, where we are able to now become exporters, and we are able to reduce our imports significantly. So as you are aware, on the semiconductor side also there is huge progress. The first plant of Micron was inaugurated by our Prime Minister on 28th February, and the second plant will be inaugurated tomorrow. Keynes is the semiconductor manufacturer there, and there too, within 14 months from the day of foundation to commercial production, it shows our country's capabilities. It also shows our government's commitment, and it shows how much meticulous follow-up is happening in the industry. So with that, I'll stop, and we'll take the questions from the industry. We'll start from this side.
Hi, sir, Danish from Money Control. So I have a question on the ongoing war, and due to which the shortage of certain gases, helium electronics industry and on the semiconductor facilities and the PCB factory.
सर सिद्धार्थ कम्युनिकेशन से जो रेयर अर्थ मैग्नेट की जो बात की जा रही है सर वो कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है और आने वाले दिनों के लिए क्या टारगेट रखा गया, क्या 100% डिमांड जो है पूरी की जा सकती है अपने के लिए?
So if you can once again repeat those asks that you have put for the industry and what you expect to achieve out of it.
Anybody on this side, right side?
सर जो मिडिल ईस्ट में वॉर चल रहा है उसकी वजह से मोबाइल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के लिए चिप मेमोरी चिप की शॉर्टेज हो गई है, उससे जो है स्मार्टफोन की जो है प्राइसेस बढ़ रही हैं। इसके लिए क्या कर रहे हैं, अगर कुछ आपकी तरफ से हो तो?
और इस तरफ
Hi sir, my question is around the press note 3. Since the guidelines have been changed, so how do you think it will benefit the manufacturing in the country?
Okay.
Jatin Rogan from me. Just one question, since you also talked about design and you asked the industry to design the products in the country as well. Any guidance you can give on the new DLI scheme for semiconductors and how the outlay is going to be?
इधर से और कोई राइट साइड ऑल कंप्लीटेड? यहाँ पे लेफ्ट यू वांट टू से यू वांट टू आस्क? इधर से स्टार्ट करो फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट रो से स्टार्ट। एक सेकंड इधर राइट।
By when do we expect to meet this target that you have set for domestic demand? For all these components that you spoke about, 5%, 61%. By when do we expect that to be met?
So this Momita from PTI, sir, the West Asia conflict, there have been reports of supply side disruptions on helium gases and some other critical aspects. I want to know, as a result of that, has the industry approached you? How are they dealing with it? Are they scaling down production, to deal with the supply side issues? Are they seeking any extra support from the government, to tide over the crisis, or are they prioritizing certain components over others?
Hi sir, so on design, you have urged a lot of companies downstairs to have more in-house design capabilities as an essential feature. We have already had a lot of semiconductor and electronics design capabilities since the late 90s and the mid-2000s. Why is this renewed push being made? That's one. Second is, we have seen an increase in high-profile social media takedowns on Meta and Twitter, both Facebook and Instagram. What explains this recent spurt of higher censorship online? Thank you.
Sir, Nasif from Indano. Sir, I want to know with all these 75 companies who have started, out of which 28 companies have already started their construction, how many months it will start, like, for the main production? And the second, how much pricing will go down, especially for the flexible PCB and laminate? Because as you said, laminate will be 100% production will be in India now.
Sir, Ashish from Business Standard. There's a plan for rare earth permanent magnets also with about 700 crore investment. There's a separate scheme with the MSI that is also for rare earth magnets. Will the two run in concern? What's the setup there?
Hi sir, Swami from Indian Express. A couple of questions. Of course, my colleagues have asked about the West Asia disruptions and the impact on certain components, etc. But also, if you could speak broadly about the importance of the Strait of Hormuz for the things that we send from here to markets in the Middle East and West Asia. How important is the strait right now? And what is the current situation as far as shipping lines are concerned? Because we know that there is a blockade there and ships aren't able to move freely. Has that had an impact on our export numbers at this point in time? And how do we sort of see that resolving? A. B. Have we made broad calculations? Because as we ramped up manufacturing of smartphones, assembly, etc., our import bill on the component side also started to go up. Of course, that's what we're trying to substitute here now. Broadly, in a percentage term or an absolute value, could you give us a number about what will be the reduction in the import bill that we were earlier and current, and just a percentage figure or like an absolute figure, and I'll be very happy, sir. Thank you.
Sir, Santal from Global. So two questions. One, could you, when you approve the electronics component manufacturing approvals, do you give companies specific time frames as to when they should begin production, where their supply is coming from, or who their partners or ultimate buyers are? If you could give me some color on that. And you've always said that the Prime Minister's vision is to have all these schemes work in conjunction with each other, semiconductors and ECMS, etc. So I wanted to know, is there any time frame on when a new PLI or whatever you want to call it scheme for smartphone manufacturing is coming in? Thank you.
Hi sir, Shubhan from the Economics Times. Just one final question on West Asia from my side. With regards to this particular tranche of approvals, did the crisis in West Asia play a part in the selection process? As to if you did you prioritize some of the things keeping in mind the crisis? And sir, one clarification from downstairs. You mentioned that obviously companies who do not abide by these timelines that we have set for them, they will be weeded out from the scheme. Does the existing scheme document the guidelines? Do they allow the government to do so, or would you need to update them?
Sir, Aditi, independent journalist. So my question is about the statement that you made downstairs to the industry, where you were fairly stern with them, that they have not met the 4 goals that you have honestly been highlighting in every ECMS related announcement, even with the media. So what prompted that change of tone? Because here in your interaction with us, you have been fairly appreciative of the industry, where you're saying that the electronics manufacturing sector has deepened really well. We are now expanding into manufacturing of critical telecom equipment within India, EV equipment within India. So what prompted that change in tone, and why prioritize these 4 goals above everything else to the extent that disbursals and existing approvals can potentially be made?
Hi, Sir Shavik from Meet. Just one addition to what Soumya and Sankalp asked. In terms of the approvals given in this scheme so far, are you happy with the kind of localization and reduction of dependency on imports that is happening? Or is there a strategy going forward in terms of choosing specific components or raw materials in the input supply chain? Okay.
Hi, sir. Jasmine from Financial Express. So one on the key for us that you've asked, design capabilities is one thing you fixated on. So are there any specific targets specifically for design that you have in mind? Because from where we see, we're already a powerhouse when it comes to precision design capabilities like that, which you've also showcased so far when it comes to semiconductors and electronics. Next, sir, if you can draw some color on the upcoming PLI scheme for smartphones, and if you see any sort of intersection with the West Asia crisis, that the impact it might have on.
Salasim, CNBC आवाज से. सब मोबाइल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग स्कीम कल खत्म हो रही है, 31 मार्च is the last day. एक्सटेंड करने का कोई प्लान है या फिर कब तक आ सकती है?
Hi sir, very good afternoon. Ashwini from CNBC TV 18. So just borrowing from the proceedings downstairs, I just wanted to ask, is there flexibility for perhaps tweaking the scheme in a manner which specifies and very clearly prioritizes local design here as a part of the scheme language?
Hi, sir. Sumita from ET now. Just 2 questions. You mentioned about the fact that we've been able to reduce imports and of course exports as far as the smartphone sector is concerned. They remain robust. Will you be able to give more details and figures related to the reduction in imports? Secondly, with respect to the West Asia war, is the government considering any proposal with respect to a duty reduction, for example, for the components and the electronics ecosystem? Thank you.
All questions done. Any more questions? Okay, so I'll address all the points. Very important points you have raised, and I'm glad that practically every point which needs to be asked has been asked. I'll begin with the West Asia war impact. I've asked practically every industry association in electronics sector, and each one of them has said, so far there is no impact. Each one of them, whether it is semiconductors, whether it is passive components, whether it is mobile manufacturing, whether it is IT hardware, each one of them has said that so far there is no impact.
It's an evolving situation, as we all know. So we'll continuously keep interacting with the industry and see if there is any stress which is coming at any point of time. We all believe that this war will be a short-term thing. It won't be a very prolonged, the entire world hopes for that. So that's why the industry is also, in a sense, in that mindset. So there is no specific priority given because of this current war. It's the continuous normal process. Mamita, to your question, it's a continuous process which has been steadily going on so far. The second point is about permanent magnets. As you all know, permanent magnet, there are, in the entire value chain, there are 4 major parts. First is getting the minerals processed. Second is from mineral to the refined product, whether you go into neodymium, whichever value chain you look at it, from the mineral to the refined mineral to the metal to the final product. These are the 4 basic steps. At this point of time, the world basically wants an alternative in the refined mineral to magnet making cycle. That part of the value chain is the most important part of value chain. Refining minerals is possible to do in so many other countries. And once you have the metal, manufacturing the magnets is easy. What is most difficult is from the refined mineral to manufacturing the metal. पहले मिनरल को रिफाइन करने के बाद में उससे मेटल बनाने के बाद में उससे मैग्नेट बनाना. ये 4 वैल्यू चेन के मेजर कंपोनेंट्स हैं अगर स्लाइटली हायर लेवल पे देखें तो. What we have succeeded today is getting a project which will be manufacturing from the refined mineral to metal. This is the most difficult part of the entire value chain. If we are able to get this in India, then that means India becomes a preferred destination for permanent magnet manufacturing. That is why our focus was so much on getting the technology in-house in our country, where the IP rights are with us. Nobody can stop us from manufacturing in case they want to put any pressure. So that was very, very critical part of the entire strategy, and I'm happy that we have been able to make a major move in this particular part of the strategy. Now, this technology will be common technology which can be used for smaller magnets which go into smaller and higher quality of magnets which go into electronics manufacturing, and bigger but slightly lower grade of magnets which go into large machines. So large machines is where the Ministry of Heavy Industries program is, and higher grade but small magnets is what the electronics manufacturing will require. But the technology basically remains the same. So this technology can now be used in larger permanent magnet manufacturing units also. So in that sense, while the base remains the same, the knowledge base remains the same, but the 2 schemes can work in parallel for our country. But this is a very big movement, I would say, and you will realize after 5 years, when you look back on what we are doing, you will realize that this was one major milestone in our journey for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Many questions have been asked about what we have been asking from the industry. There is a reason for that. If you look at the manufacturing industry, design has 4 basic layers. Topmost layer is conceptual design. You prepare a concept. मैं आपको example के तौर पे अगर देता हूँ तो let's take let's take this pen for the example's sake. Let's take the pen for the example's sake. Concept design is basically creating a concept of the product. कैसा बनेगा, क्या उसके major features रहेंगे, किस तरह का material उसमें use होएगा. All those things will be basic concept design. So that's the highest level where more creativity, less engineering. Right? 80% creativity, 20% engineering goes into concept design. All products start at concept design level. The second level is the engineering design. Engineering design is when you start looking at, from concept, you start looking at what materials should be used, the exact materials, what should be the dimensions, are the dimensions properly fitting into each other. So for example, cap and the pen, right? The इसकी जो needle है plus इसका rest of the material, इसका जो ink का part है and rest of the things. So इन सब का आपस में match है कि नहीं, that will be the engineering design. I am taking a very simple example, but when you look at a more complex machine, then this will be very clearly understood in your mind. The third level is the manufacturing design. Manufacturing design is when you do the exact specifications. आप बोलोगे कि you cut a circle of this diameter, right, with this much thickness. So you you basically mold a pen with this dimensions. So manufacturing design is like now 100% engineering. This is now 100% engineering, and when you take the manufacturing design, then the final layer, which is actual manufacturing, happens. So this is the way industry works. This is the way railway industry works. This is the way shipping industry works. This is the way power plants work. This is the way electronics works. So we all start with concept. Then if it's a large machine, then there is a GAD, general arrangement drawing. Then comes the engineering. Then comes the manufacturing design. So we want our industries to ramp up their capabilities in manufacturing design, in engineering design, in GAD for large machines, and in concept design. There is a reason for that. I'll give you one simile from the semiconductor industry. Few years ago, we requested AMD to start the end-to-end design for chips in India. They thought that this was difficult. But when we requested them, they took our request positively, they started doing it. And now they are so happy that the end-to-end design is being done in our country, done in India, and it is done significantly better than what they were doing earlier. No longer the back office work, just the back office work, but the complete, from understanding what the customer requires to delivering the final product. That capability is very important. That is where the real value gets captured in India. To capture the large part of the value, the design must be done in India. Manufacturing will have certain value, but design will have a very huge value. And once we have design, then we can start looking at finished products also. So while our capabilities in software side are very high, design part of design software, that capability is very high. The manufacturing, which we lost in the first 4 decades of our independence, that capability we must develop now. We must ramp it up in a very big way. That is why our continuous ask towards the industry that you must focus on getting this, and this is a hard part. The easy part is that somebody from the global manufacturing value chain will give the entire manufacturing design and we do the manufacturing here in India. That's easy. But getting the entire design in India and delivering to the final product spec, that is really, really important for a long-term growth of the industry. That is why we are putting so much emphasis on this. And of course, the quality Six Sigma, that's a required thing. That has to be there. Otherwise, the products will really not fit well into the global supply chain. And talent development is very important because industry, as you know, in the Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya, it is the industry which is developing the talent. We'll do a program shortly after this for GSV. Engine makers like Safran, airplane makers like Airbus, large railway manufacturers like Siemens Alstom, large maintenance machine maker like Placer, they are all getting their talent developed in conjunction with the university. So talent development, primary responsibility has to be taken by the industry because they know what talent is required. They know what skills are required. And we from the government have to support that ecosystem. That approach is what we are asking the industry to do. There are questions whether we have the leeway to change the scheme. Yes, we have the leeway to change the schemes. And as I've said publicly, if that requirement comes, we will not hesitate in changing the scheme parameters to make sure that the industry looks at the long-term growth of the country and not just the short-term growth of the company. The nation first, always first, has to be implemented. It is very, very big, important imperative for the entire industry. Now the question about memory chip. Memory chip is shortage, or rather the high demand which has happened is not because of the West Asia conflict. That is primarily because of the large infra build out which is happening in the AI data centers. It is because of that. And we are lucky that we started the first memory plant on 28th February, Micron plant, which will be meeting a very large percentage of their global manufacturing in India. About 10% of their global manufacturing will happen in this plant. It's really, really large. And it is scaling up very well. The commercial production started just a month back. And now they are ramping up very fast. They are also getting all the equipment for the rest of the part of the plant which is there. And it's rapidly expanding. So we believe that much of the memory shortage should be, much of the memory demand should be able to meet, we should be able to meet in the coming months and coming weeks as we go forward. There was a question about DLI, I've discussed in detail. There is a difference in the, let's say, the design of a chip vis-a-vis the design of a manufacturing product. As I explained in good detail, the concept design, the GAD, the engineering drawing, the manufacturing drawings. So that there is a significant difference vis-a-vis, let's say, you are designing a chip versus designing a manufactured product. So we have to focus on both. There were questions about demand, how much timelines, what time frame we are looking at when we start. So very glad to share with you that now we have become net exporter in the electronics segment. 2025, we have become net exporter. This is a big achievement for the country because for decades and decades we were importers. Now we have become net exporters, which means our exports have become higher than our imports from the total electronics ecosystem perspective, which means electronics which is going in so that is a very big thing. And my colleague says that as this electronics manufacturing, he wants me to announce something big. I don't want to announce. So as this thing keeps growing, this will obviously be a trend which becomes important. And as we do more design, the value capture also starts happening more and more in India. timelines, pricing. Obviously, when we start manufacturing in India, the forex impact immediately goes away. So, where let's say a product is sold in rupee terms, then the entire hedging cost, the cost of forex going to any level, that immediately goes away. So that itself becomes a big impact. The cost of logistics also reduces. So as these factories come up and they start manufacturing, the entire value chain will see a benefit in terms of pricing and cost, and it also in terms of the risk of supply chain will reduce. So reduction in import bill will happen with that. Company specific, each and every proposal which comes, there is a team of professionals which evaluates every proposal. They look at the technology readiness, they look at their experience in manufacturing, their ability to finance the project, their readiness for ramping up, their readiness in design. All those things are evaluated by professional teams, and those teams basically give the recommendations for approvals. Time frame for PLI 2.0 related matters came, and conjunction and so many things came around that, which my colleague wanted me to announce, but I don't want to announce at this point of time. Let things happen, and as we have maintained in the last many years, we would like to share with you once the things have happened, rather than put a conjecture today and then, that's not the way we should be working. It's important that we deliver and then share the details with you. That's where on social media I can have offline. Basically, a lot of content has started coming of the nature of deep fakes because of whatever changes have happened in the AI world. A huge quantity of deep fakes have started coming in the social media world, and entire world and the social media platforms themselves, they have significantly ramped up their efforts at removing the deep fakes. Not just the governments across the world, but also the platforms themselves have almost doubled or tripled their own takedowns, which are basically deep fake takedowns, which have started in the entire world. It's a new menace, new threat, which is coming for the society, and we must be able to counter it effectively. It's very, very important for entire society, for every individual, for entire, the institutions which we have in the society. That's all, I think, all the points covered. Great, thanks a lot. तालियां, मीडिया कभी तालियां बजाता है? चलो अच्छा, thank you for whatever appreciation you are giving. These days thank you for your